Spartacus was born in chains, trained to kill, forced to fight for Roman entertainment. But one day, he fought back. What makes a man risk everything against the greatest empire the world had ever known? And how did a single slave make the Senate tremble? This is the legend of Spartacus. Forget what Hollywood showed you. The real Spartacus was more dangerous, more brilliant, and more terrifying than fiction. This isn't just a story of swords and sand. It's a war for freedom that nearly changed the course of history. It's the tale of a man who was never meant to be remembered, rising to become a name feared by emperors and etched into eternity. He was of Thracian origin, from a fierce warrior culture in what is now Bulgaria. The Thracians were no strangers to war. They lived hard, fought harder, and valued freedom above all. Spartacus, once a soldier in the Roman auxiliary, fought alongside the very legions he would later defy. But the same empire he fought for turned on him. Betrayed, captured, and stripped of his freedom, he was forced into the brutal life of a slave. His destination? Capua, home to one of the most infamous gladiator schools in the Roman world. Capua wasn't just a place of training. It was a factory of blood. Gladiators were broken, rebuilt, and turned into instruments of slaughter. For the amusement of Roman crowds, they were made to fight each other, to kill and die for cheers. Spartacus endured it all. But within him burned a hatred Rome had no idea it was fueling. Spartacus wasn't born a gladiator. He was made into one. And every drop of blood he spilled in the arena was a silent vow. I will rise. In 73 BC, Spartacus acted. Alongside 70 other gladiators, he staged a daring escape. Armed with kitchen tools in pure desperation, they overwhelmed the guards, seized weapons, and vanished into the wild. They fled to the slopes of Mount Vesuvius, not to hide, but to strike back. When a small Roman force was sent to crush them, Spartacus outwitted them with guerrilla tactics. He used ropes made of vines to scale down the cliffside and ambush the Romans from behind, turning what should have been a swift Roman victory into an embarrassment. Word of the rebellion spread like wildfire. Slaves from across the Italian countryside abandoned their chains and flocked to his side. What began as a band of fugitives became a growing army. Spartacus trained them, organized them, and gave them a vision. Not just escape, but liberation. His force soon swelled to over 70,000 men, a mass movement of the oppressed, the forgotten, and the furious. They struck Roman villas, raided towns, and outmaneuvered the legions time and again. Spartacus led with intelligence and discipline. He enforced order among his troops, ensured the spoils of victory were shared, and punished looting and abuse. He wasn't just a fighter, he was a leader. The Roman Senate, humiliated and afraid, scrambled to respond. They underestimated Spartacus again and again, sending minor commanders who returned defeated, if they returned at all. Rome began to realize this was not just a rebellion, it was a war they were losing. The fear grew. What if Spartacus reached Rome? What if slaves across the empire rose up in unison? To stop him, the Senate turned to Marcus Licinius Crassus, a man of immense wealth and ruthless ambition. Crassus took command with one mission: to end the slave rebellion, no matter the cost. He imposed brutal discipline, even executing his own soldiers in decimation rituals to restore fear. Then he built massive fortifications across southern Italy, trapping Spartacus and his army. But Spartacus wouldn't go quietly. In a bold maneuver, he broke through the Roman blockade, defeating several legions in the process. Yet his army was weakening, supplies were scarce, loyalty wavered. Some say he planned to escape over the Alps. Others whisper that he meant to march on Rome itself. The truth remains buried in history's dust. The final confrontation came in 71 BC. Spartacus and his remaining force of 6,000 men faced Crassus's hardened legions. Outnumbered and cornered, they fought with unmatched bravery. Spartacus is said to have cut through enemy lines in search of Crassus himself, determined to end it all in single combat, but he never reached him. Surrounded and wounded, Spartacus fell. His body was never found. In the aftermath, Rome crucified 6,000 surviving rebels along the Appian Way, a grim message etched in blood and wood. Defy Rome, and you die. But even in death, Spartacus lived on. Rome had won the battle, but it never truly killed the idea he represented. Spartacus didn't just fight Rome, he exposed its fears. He proved that courage could come from the lowest ranks, that resistance could rise from the dirt, and that freedom is worth dying for. His rebellion echoed far beyond his time, inspiring revolutionaries, dreamers, and rebels for centuries. He is more than a rebel. He is a symbol, a spark, a warning. This is not the story of a gladiator. This is the story of a man who defied an empire and became a legend.